everybody. Today we are at Mount Rainier in Washington State, and we're currently sitting at the Johnson Ridge Observatory, which is at 4,314 feet, and the top of Mt.St. Helens is around 8,300, I think, which was last measured in 2009 or something like that. So it hasn't, I guess it hasn't changed too much. But we're going to leave the observatory here and fly directly to the dome. Take a trip around that, give you an eyeball of what it looks like. And I will tell you from personal experience, the scenery for this area is spot on. I've been up here, I've been inside the dome in a helicopter. It looks exactly the way it's depicted here. So what you're going to see from this video is pretty good. It's pretty spot on. And we'll fly over to Spirit Lake, and there's a lake directly behind us. And I think that was Coldwater Lake, I think. But anyway, there's three lakes up here. Right now, as of today, the trails up here and the roads up here to the observatory are closed because of an avalanche slide. So there's no, there wouldn't be anybody up here today except for maybe a few helicopters. So, all right. So anyway, we're going to take off here and fly around, and I'll talk to you about Mt.St. Helens. Check out the controls here. Forward and back. Right, left. Pitch. Power. Alright. I'm going to fly right over the observatory. It's a pretty cool place because it gives you the perfect eyeball of this catastrophe back in 1980. And I was here in 1988. And like I said, got a chance to fly directly into the blown out section up here. I'll show you basically where we put down at. But this area here is exactly the way you see it after it happened. Everything was burnt out. Everything was down. The trees were disintegrated. Whatever trees were left, they were all laying in the same direction, kind of pointing toward Spokane, northwest. I'm sorry, northeast. But this is the whole wall here that blew out. I mean, you can see, kind of get an idea of where the wall was. So like right now, I'm pointing at that peak, and it was all that high at one time, all the way around. But lava come and spewed down for miles. But the blast itself was just, it was devastating. I think the death toll was 57 people total. A lot of people just didn't get out in time. There was a lot of people watching it at the time. They knew something was going on. So I think some people were excuse me, just a little too close. Other ones that were fairly far away were still lucky to get away, because the blast was like a nuclear blast. So this is the molten dome on the inside here that is where it rose up from way under earth and was hot. And then these walls in here all the way around usually are accumulated with ice, just like you see right now. It's just ice walls. It just doesn't look real sometimes. When you look at this, you think, who the heck built this thing? Why did they build it like this? It's amazing. Get down a little lower here. And they do have some effect in here of rising air, I've noticed. That's one of the lakes over there, 12 o'clock. And another one at 1 o'clock. I think that's clear water. And then this one over here to my right is Spirit Lake. And that lake was full of lumber. I mean, from what I understand, you could walk from one side of the lake to the other on top of lumber. But this is the actual flow path of it, of what it would have appeared like with the lava flow going to the northeast. In 1988, roughly around that time period, a helicopter came up here. It came up to this ridge right here and hovered above the ground. We did not land, but we hovered here in this area, and there was two scientists from, I'm pretty sure it was, I think it was St. Washington University, and they had electronic equipment with them that they wanted to put on the surface. So they were able to go out the back and set up their equipment, which if I'm not mistaken, I think it was just a spike or two spikes or something like that, right in this area here. And then once they accomplished that, they got back inside and off we went. But it was spooky, because the whole time you're up here, you're thinking, what if this thing decides to hiccup again? But it was a one in a lifetime experience for me to be able to fly up into this area. But this was the path right here that it took from my left over the lake straight out. And even up in this area here, you can see it was stripped. It's just down to the rock. amazing sight to see, really. Just amazing. That's Mount Rainier. And over time, you know, there has been some growth here. You know, I don't know the whole story behind that. I'm not sure what level has exactly, you know, taken off, what's growing, grasses, trees, anything like that. I'm not really sure. I'm sure there's stuff in Wikipedia or Google or whatever of the current situation, but I'm sure it's getting better, but it's going to take years and years and years, way past my lifetime, before this recovers. Meanwhile, there are lots of trails up here. You can see one's right there. There's plenty of hiking trails. You need permits to come up here. You need passes to come up here. But it's like any other state park. You know, they manage it, well managed, and I think they do get quite a bit of tourists up here. I'm sure they do. But if you get a chance to read up on the actual day of, there's just incredible stories of first-hand experiences, people who actually were close to it when it went off. Yeah, it's amazing. It's cool stuff. And of course, all these mountaintops up here, all well seen in the state of Washington. Pretty much anywhere you are, you can see these mountains sticking out. Mt.St. Helens, Mount Rainier, Mount Shasta, and then farther north, you get to see the Cascade Range. And then on the far western portion of Washington State, on the west side of the Puget Sound, you have the Olympic Mountain Range. Beautiful, beautiful area. And they have marked this. I did put the popsicles up. I don't usually use those, but I put this one up here to mark this as Lake Ryan. Not really why this was marked as a landmark, because Spirit Lake wasn't, and that surely was one of the center points of the the eruption. But I do know that this is a well-visited spot right here. There's some evidence of some damaged trees, just stripped, standing upright. And you can see how far this is from actual St. Helens. This was all pretty well burnt out. Nice trail though. And for flight simmers, you can literally spend hours up here just kind of following the trails around, the streams, the rivers. It's like it's kind of like Mount Rainier with the subalpine levels and then the alpine levels. It's really cool flying in that area. It's and I am feeling effects of wind and shear up in these areas here, and depending on what you're flying up here, you'll feel it as well, especially right off these in between ridges. Definitely get some interesting wind patterns up here. So they figured that all in. Very interesting. One thing I did a lot when I was living out here in the late 80s was trout fishing, which was just epic. But you had to be very careful where you were fishing on certain property where Native Americans own quite a bit of the water systems, and not they don't share, but they want to know when you're there, and some of it is just totally off limits. But there are a lot of places, a lot of streams in the Cascade mountain range where you can do some epic fishing, and you won't see people if you decide to camp out into those areas on these streams and river systems, you won't see anybody. You might see some bears, you might see some mountain lions, but man, get some good wind buffeting in here. Yeah, it is. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I highly suggest it. One of my favorite waterways to fish is the Puyallup River. You can look that up. And yeah, it's an excellent place to fish. This 407 is booking today. It is moving out. Nice little landing spot down there. And I would imagine, you know, there's some pretty good bush spots up here. If you fly around long enough, or you can research some maps, you can get some pretty good locations to do some bush flying. And there is a ton of strips in these mountain ranges, especially Cascade. Ton of them. There are some that are not even listed. As you can see, there's trails up, even up here. We'll go over here and check this popsicle out, and then we'll probably call it for the flight. But I just wanted to kind of let you get your eyeballs on Mt.St. Helens, and it's worth, you know, hopping in something and checking it out, because it really is an awesome sight to see. It was devastating, that's for sure. But and it sure wreaked havoc on nature. There's no question about it. But it's worth taking a look at it. I'm not really sure what they're marking up here, but we'll take a look at it. Okay. So it's Rift Lake Dam. I thought I had been here through here once before, and I don't remember that being marked, but I might not have had the popsicles up that day either. And I just flew over it, didn't even see it. If you have any idea where this is, put it in the comments section. There's communities all along this river. Wow, some good buffeting here. Gotta be careful in here because there's power lines. I believe they cross, yeah, I can see the towers. They cross over this little waterway here. How about that? Oh, there's a lot of sunlight. Pretty cool, huh? So yeah, if you can name the waterway, let me know in the comment section. I'm gonna go up real close to the wall here and then go up because of the power lines. Alright everybody, well, I'm going to cut it here. I hope you enjoyed the site. That was depicted here in the Washington State region with Mount St. Helens. And kind of a background view of Mount Rainier, Mount Shasta. It's all beautiful stuff out here. There's no question about it. So, yeah. If you get a chance, come out here and fly. Or if you have the real good chance to come out here personally, I cannot stress it enough. It is gorgeous out here. Okay, everybody. I'll talk to y'all later.